Top 10 things to know before traveling to Japan. Japan is a delightful and peculiar country with a unique culture that can only be experienced firsthand. From helpful travel tips to the odd traditional culture, in today's video, we're going to take a look at 10 things you should know before going to Japan. Before we continue, make sure to give this video a like. Don't forget to turn on the bell icon and subscribe to stay notified. Number 10. A Japan Rail Pass can be a good buy. A 2 or 3 week JR Pass can save you money and time if you intend to travel around the country. Saving money is obviously the main reason for getting a Japan Rail Pass, but the benefits do not end there. The pass is simple to use and includes all JR lines and the Shinkansen. That's the bullet train. You don't have to worry about buying tickets and fishing for coins in your pocket every time you take a trip with the pass. All you have to do is show the pass to the turnstile attendant and board the next available train. Number 9. Japan doesn't have a tipping culture. The bill's price is the price you pay. If you leave a tip, the employees will go out of their way to find you and return it. They'll insist that you take it back no matter how much you insist that they keep it. Restaurant employees are usually paid by the hour and do not rely on tips. Taxi drivers, hairdressers, massage therapists, and other service providers fall under this category too. All they want from you is a smile with arigato when you leave. Number 8. Hold on to your garbage. You might have plenty of empty food packs and water bottles in your backpack after traipsing around town. But hey, you can't toss them away anywhere, including cans in public restrooms. Depending on the type of trash you're carrying, you'll need to find the appropriate bin. The problem is that there aren't public garbage cans on every corner. And guess what? You can lose 20 minutes looking for garbage cans. Although throwing trash on the street may seem tempting, Japanese people rarely do so. Even if you find a spot to dispose of your trash, take the time to ensure you're using the correct receptacle. To fight pollution, Japan classifies its garbage into several categories. How cool is that? Number 7. You can't smoke everywhere. Smoking is prohibited in the streets, as it is in many other Asian cities. If you smoke, you might have trouble locating a place to smoke on the streets or outside of buildings. It is generally considered disrespectful and one of the offenses in Japan. However, many restaurants, cafes, and bars allow smoking inside. So it looks that finding a spot to smoke outside is more complicated than finding a place to smoke inside. This may be pretty frustrating for non-smokers when someone smokes while eating in a restaurant. Number 6. Don't forget cash money. You're probably used to carrying credit or debit cards as your main form of payment and perhaps a bit of cash in case of an emergency. In Japan, the exact opposite is true. The Japanese economy is cash-based and many businesses do not accept credit cards. Credit systems are used by large corporations in major cities, but your neighborhood shop may not. And forget about using it for riding public transport. So make sure you keep enough cash ready for your upcoming journey to Japan. Number 5. Silence is golden. Every society has its own set of decibel levels that are considered acceptable. However, Japanese people speak far more softly than their international counterparts. Even your library voice could come across as loud in Japan. If you don't want to bother anyone outside of your group, try speaking in a way that only your pals can hear you, especially if you're on a train. Number 4. Taking off your shoes at the restaurant. When you've decided where to eat, keep in mind that you might have to take off your shoes. Most people know that Japanese people do not wear shoes in their homes, but many are startled to learn that this also applies to public spaces. A server will direct you to the appropriate shoe storage area in a restaurant. Shops usually provide slippers for patrons to use if they need to go to the bathroom and don't want to tie their boots up all the time. Number 3. Learn basic Japanese before you go. When traveling, the most significant barrier is the language barrier. Many Japanese people do not speak English, so you may have a big problem if you get lost and don't speak the language. Also, English menus are not offered at most restaurants or vending machines. It may seem overwhelming at first, but you can learn basic Japanese, and no worries, you could use Google Translate too. Number 2. Going to the toilet is a life-changing experience. This one will appeal to germaphobes. Public restrooms can be a nightmare in the West, but not in Japan. Japanese toilets are dizzyingly high-tech porcelain masterpieces at their best. Because Japanese people value cleanliness above all else, restrooms are as clean and comfy as you've never seen before. Oh, and don't forget about technology. Expect a keypad with several functionalities even in the tiniest restaurants in the most remote locations. It's really fancy, with seat heating and other sounds for privacy. Number 1. Know about chopsticks. Start practicing with chopsticks if you haven't already, because they'll come in handy at some moment. You don't have to worry about perfect form, but you should never place your chopsticks in your rice upright. This is something that only Japanese people do at funerals, and everyone else will notice. Otherwise, no one will judge you for how incorrectly you might use chopsticks. With that, we've come to the end of the video. How did your trip to Japan go? Make sure to comment down below. See you next time. Adios. Thank you.